Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm just continue working on these tanks, so I thought I'd just jump on here as I've got the empty house at the minute. So if you watched the previous one, I was sort of working on the airbrushing and stuff, and yeah, I'm sort of just working my way around, doing few highlights and stuff at the moment. This is the second batch. I got a bit delayed because I got tied up working on some other things. Well, plus I had a few issues as well that were going on that just kind of slowed me down a little bit. So yeah, I just thought I'd jump on here and do a bit of work. Yeah, so the plan at the moment is basically, I don't know if you can, how well you can see this, so essentially to start working on the chipping and which I'm using as the edge highlights. Not sure how well you can see that, so I'm going to be sort of working around the next couple of those. I'm just seeing if I can get the setup. Oh, here we go. Can I see what we're saying? Look comfy. Anyway, right, so let's start. So I'm using some Pro Acryl here, which again, this project's the first time I've actually used this stuff, and it's actually genuinely very good. Highly recommended. It's excellent through an airbrush. I've had no problems with it whatsoever. No clogs, nothing. It's been great. Really, really recommended if you're airbrushing stuff. And so yeah, rather than sitting and edge highlighting everything meticulously, I'm going to be sponging it all on to kind of help with both the edge highlights, but also to add some weathering and stuff to it as well. So this is basically the first step of that stage. So just being very, very light and careful, but quite deliberate with where they're going. Again, I'm not sure how well that comes out, but yeah. Fingers crossed you can see what I'm doing anyway. But I quite like doing this with tanks, rather than edge highlighting everything. It adds to the sort of the worn look of them, but also it does the same job as picking out all the edges, and it will make a bit more sense as well once I've got some washes and things on here as well. It sort of helps to define everything. Yeah, so again, sort of nice rare occasion where I've got an empty house, so I thought we'd just give this a go. It's very warm. Really warm here. Been out at work all day, and yeah. So I'll just come back and get on. Enjoy the silence here. Hope everyone's had a good day. Had a bit of a nightmare really the last well, not a nightmare, that's a bit extreme, but yeah, like the last week or so, we had a tanker truck dump apparently 16,000 litres of diesel fuel down a 10-mile stretch of the main road that comes in and out of the town I live in, and all the roads are closed, and they're still closed. And yeah, the last couple of nights the last couple of days getting home from work, it's been taking me an hour to do the last leg of it, which is just coming into the town, which would be like on a normal day would be about a 4-minute drive. So I kind of left work a little bit earlier than I would normally, and kind of overestimated and ended up get back a bit earlier, but it's fine. I'm going to do some more stuff later. I've got a load of other bits and pieces I can be doing. So yeah, that's been fun. Last week or so. But yeah, again, so I've just been quite careful with where these are going. I don't want it to be. I don't want to kind of overpower it and have everything too bright. So I'll sort of show you on this one as well. Again, if that comes out well. How is this showing up? I don't know. But you can sort of you can see that it's there, but it's subtle. But again, it should sort of show up more once the shading and stuff is on. There'll be some oil washes on here and everything as well. So, but yeah, I'm kind of making some good progress. I think I got slowed down. I wanted to have more done by this point on these, but there's six of them to do. But it's actually not too bad. I think I'm hoping I'll have them done. Maybe all 6 of them done. Potentially this time next week. I'm hoping. Because yeah, I'd like to get them finished. But I got a bit delayed. I've just been a bit manic the last week or so. Not suddenly getting home late from work and stuff, and it's all been a bit much. So I try not to paint too much if I'm tired and stuff. It's not when I do my best work. Yeah, I think it's coming out quite nicely. I'm quite happy with them so far anyway. But yeah, just trying to catch more of the edges than anything else. And a few on the centre of the panels, and just to kind of give some chips and just have a slightly worn look, but not going mad. Not kind of covering the entire thing. It's just sort of it's quite subtle. It shows up more in the flesh, but it's enough to kind of give some definition to the panels and stuff. And more on the front there. Yeah, so I've been kind of I've been quite busy and stuff. I've not had a chance to really do much more on the channel recently, which is a bit of a shame. I've started a few bits and pieces, but yeah, it's been a bit much. There's a lot goes on in the background. I've been doing some work on my Genes Through the Cult as well, which has been fun. Been kind of enjoying that in the background as well. Sort of while I've been working on this. That's the other sort of big sort of army project thing that I'm working on at the moment. Slowly working through them. Genuinely enjoying that. It's just fun. I've got the scheme down now and know exactly what I'm doing with them, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of individual things to paint, but it's fun. Doesn't feel like a chore at any point. I'm going to show you. What was it? That's the last one that I worked on. Oh, got some fluff on the top there, but yeah. Quite happy with how he came out. Yeah, a few more of those. A lot more of them to work on. A lot of infantry. But again, good fun. Nice project. It's been a while since I've done any kind of any tanks, so yeah, it's a nice different thing to work on. I do like working on big things like this. And especially with the process of doing these as well. It's not again, it's the same thing. It doesn't feel like a chore, you know. It's all nice stages, lots of airbrushing, lots of stippling and stuff, and oil paints and all the fun things, stuff that I enjoy doing. Yeah, I mean, like, painting something like this is definitely the way to go, I think, for doing the highlights and things. It helps it keep it a bit more realistic as well, rather than having everything sort of bright, perfect edges on everything. Yeah, but I hope everybody's had a good afternoon so far. Afternoon if you're in the UK anyway. We've actually got some nice weather for once. I don't know about everywhere else, but it's been awful here recently. Tipping down with rain. Well, I mean, the last time I did a live stream, it had a massive thunderstorm during it, so I almost feel like the summer sort of disappeared and never didn't actually get it. Yeah, again, this is definitely a process that I like doing. It's quite therapeutic. Yes, hopefully you can see that anyway. Hopefully that's coming out all right. I've got an idea of what I'm doing with the rest of them. We're gonna have some red markings down the side here. And there'll be snow effects on them as well once all the actual painting's done. Oil washes, and I need to put some decals on as well. And they'll all be blended enough to go back and do some more chipping and stuff over the top of them to kind of blend them all in. But I wanted to get the bulk of this done before I started sticking decals on. And this is like the second batch of 6. So it's just sort of breaking them up a little bit, not doing everything all in one go. And yeah, this has really got me wanting to repaint my stuff, my other guard tanks and vehicles. Just maybe I might do it at some point when I've got the time. Just reprime everything and just do something different with them. It's a long time ago since I painted them up, and they look fine. There's nothing wrong with them. I just think I could do better. I think I could do more with them now. So yeah, hopefully you can see that anyway. I don't know how well it's coming out. It's difficult to tell when you're looking on the screen whether or not what you can actually see. They always look better once you've sort of finished, and something about watching it through the screen when you live stream. It's very difficult to tell what you can actually see it, what a viewer can see. I'm still not 100% sure what I'm going to do with some of these colours, or what's going to be, so I'm going to just basically stick all the chipping and the blue and everything on everything and then work it out as I go. I think most of the guns and things, the big guns, will be in the same colour as the tanks, just because that's kind of how things are in real life. You don't really tend to, they're not going to be bare metal and stuff, you know. So I think that's the plan anyway, but I'm going to kind of, I'll work it out. I'm going to add, there'll definitely be some more spot colours and things on here, and some reds and metallics and things. So yeah, it's not looking too bad at the moment. I'm definitely going to have some sort of scorch marks and those sort of things around the barrels as well when they're done. Kind of add a bit of weather into them and make them look like they're being used. So yeah, that's quite happy with that so far. Now, next one, I think one of my favourite ones, the big flamethrower guy with his little trailer, which should slide into the back there, but yeah, there you go. So yeah, again, same process on this, just slowly working around. Not the most exciting thing I know to watch, but it's quite a fun process. It's nice and therapeutic. It's certainly a lot more fun than actually, you know, doing proper brush edge highlights over everything. I mean, that's just, I don't think I'd ever do that. Other tanks have done a kind of dry brush this stage, which works quite nicely. It's quick. But the problem with that is that you end up sort of changing the main, we can end up changing the main body of the colour by kind of hitting it too much with a lighter all over, whereas this kind of is a bit more subtle. And again, it helps to add to the sort of the beaten up look of them, which is what I'm going for. Oh, I might hear my neighbours coming back home. I'm going to close the door. Not that they're going to be loud or anything, but they probably don't want to listen to me talking to myself. yeah, if you are watching anyway, yeah, thanks for sort of sticking by me. Been, as I said, been a bit quiet. It's just I've got some other things that I'm sort of filming at the moment, but it's yeah, it's just a lot going on in my personal life at the moment, so it's not. I kind of wanted to get to a point where I could do something a bit more regularly, but it's just, yeah, it's just finding time. There'll be definitely some more stuff coming soon. But in the meantime, this is just a nicer way of just kind of sharing some stuff and having a chat with people. Yeah, as I said, it's been a while since I've painted anything like this, but I've done any big vehicles and stuff. And it is a nice process. Not essential to have an airbrush for it, obviously, but it does help. It does kind of give you a bit more freedom and variety of colour and stuff. I wouldn't recommend brush painting all of the base coat on this, but you can get such a variety of sort of primers and sprays and stuff, so you can always go down that route, but it definitely helps using an airbrush. But yeah, well aware that not everyone has one. Which is why all my other tanks are all just painted with a sort of sandy colour, like a Xandri dust, just because I could buy it in a spray can at the time. So they're all just sprayed that colour with no, you know, I don't like the sort of camo markings and stuff, so it's just, they're all just one colour because I could spray it. I didn't have an airbrush at the time, so again, it was quite a while back that I did those. And I would like to kind of go back and give them a repaint, but I've already got so much stuff on to do, and not a huge amount of time to do it, because I don't know if people watching have seen that, but I have myself a little personal challenge going on with the channel where I need to paint everything in my backlog, you know, my pile of shame, by, well, within a year. So I think we're quite a way into that now, and I've not really touched a huge amount. But if you're a channel member, you can be part of that, and a channel member gets all of it for free at the end, anything I haven't painted, so there's quite a bit of stuff there. Yeah, there should be a join button somewhere if you wanted to sign up for that. Obviously it gets my undivided attention as well, so if you wanted help or advice with anything, I'm always available. I may go back in with a brush just to kind of get into some of these other bits and pieces, just to kind of try not to go too crazy with this. It's going to get toned down a little slightly as well, because they're going to be another layer of the chipping done with not quite as much, but using some darker, you know, some browns and things to kind of simulate the idea of the primer underneath the main colour coming through, underneath the scratches. It just takes adds another little bit of detail to them, and helps with the weathered look. See, stuff like that is too much, but that can be tidied up later. And there'll also be some snow effects on there as well, so anything that gets, anything I'm not happy with, I can cover up with those. So yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff there to paint actually, that piled stuff. There's a lot of Space Marines and a lot of Tyranids all sitting in a box that need painting. And I just made the decision that if whatever I can't paint, whatever isn't finished, within a year, I'm just gonna, yeah, randomly choose a channel member and send that off to them. Because I just figured if it's not painted, some of it's been sitting there for a very long time, and if it's not done by that point, it's never going to be done. I'd quite like to just, it'd be quite nice to kind of, anything that's not done, just have a clean slate, start again. I've already got so much to work on as it is, so. And obviously, you know, that it helps to support the channel and helps me to keep going and doing stuff. Yeah, sorry if I'm being a bit quiet, but so nearly done with this one anyway, and then I can move on to the next colour. And then depending on time, I'll get on with the next step, which would be to airbrush the red markings and stuff on the side. And then after that, it'll be sticking with the sort of the markings and the decals and stuff on. But it depends on time tonight, how much I can get done. I'm not going to get too mad on the inside of the tank, so you're not going to see it. Yeah, but hopefully that comes out okay. Hopefully you can see that step. So yeah, the next one is kind of, it's basically, oh no, hang on, we've got the little, well, we'll worry about that in a minute. So the next step is similar process, Rhinox hide, which is a go-to, very nice paint, and this is this sort of the second stage of the this process. And being a little bit more sparing with this, not going quite as heavy with this, but sort of trying to keep it more on certain areas where there's going to be a bit more wear and tear, sort of edges and things. I don't know why it is, I always end up starting on this bit of the tank. This back corner is always this, I don't know why, and then working around. I have no idea why I do that, it's just a habit. I've managed to do it on all of them without really thinking about it. But yeah, again, just, you know, really subtle, just catching the very edges. It's, but also kind of maybe being a little bit more heavy on sort of areas where there's going to be wear and tear. But yeah, but quite light, not going to cover the entire thing. It's just enough to kind of just make things look a little bit more worn and old. That's going to get repainted a different colour anyway, so that's not a problem. Yeah, mistakes are made. You're always going to make a few mistakes. Nothing's ever perfect, despite what people on YouTube show you. In fact, yesterday, whilst airbrushing this one, I ended up tipping half the contents of the airbrush out of the cup all over the front of it. They don't show you that on YouTube videos. I end up having to respray it and you know, go again without the front, because it just, I ended up, yeah, I dunked it under the sink to kind of just get the big blobs of paint off, and yeah, that was fun. A bit annoying. Had to start that from scratch, but that's the way it is, unfortunately, sometimes. Yeah, so just trying to keep these areas around, bits like that. It's going to get more. It's going to get hit. It's going to get more damage. It's sort of, it's enough just to kind of give that impression of scratching and the primer coming through the paint. And then once the oil washes and stuff around as well, it'll all kind of help to blend everything together, and because it can look a bit stark at the moment, like this, with no shading and stuff on it. It just, that stage will kind of help to bring everything together. And as you see, all the tracks have not been attached as well, so that's all going to be added later on. Painting them separately and then gluing them on afterwards is just a hell of a lot easier. You know, definitely one of the biggest bits of advice: if you're going to paint tanks, leave the tracks off. Do them separately and glue them on after. Save yourself a lot of headaches. And the other thing about this brown as well, it's got a slightly sort of reddy tint to it as well, so it contrasts quite nicely with this blue. So it just again helps us to add a bit of interest to it, not just one big flat colour. Yeah, I do like the look of it anyway so far. I think I'm going to be quite happy with them when they're done. It's just been a bit, trying to be sparing with it, not going too mad. I don't want it to kind of just look like I don't want it too beaten up. It just needs enough just to kind of just give that impression that they're not brand new. But at the same time, I don't want it to just look like a completely messed up. It's just enough just to so yeah, I think that's kind of about enough. You can always add more. It's far easier to add more than it's to take it away, so but it's maybe add a little bit more on the front area, just on these. Yeah, same process on this one as well. Yeah, I'll certainly have this process done anyway, but this plus the decals and all of that sort of stuff, that'll all be done by the end of the day, and all by the time I stop for the day. A lot of it just depends on what mood I'm in, how much work I can get done. I have to be in the right frame of mind, otherwise I end up sort of not enjoying it. Which I think is that's quite normal, really. It shouldn't be a chore. It shouldn't be something you're not enjoying. A little bit more of that. Sorry for being very quiet. It's I'm just sort of feeling a bit relaxed, you know. I know I end up saying this every time I do like a live stream or anything like that, but it's weird. It's weird having an empty house. It's weird it being quiet here. There's always noise and kids, and you know, it's quite nice. It's quite nice when it's quiet. It's so unusual. It's really just doesn't happen very often. So it's nice. So just every now and then, just have a bit of time. So this is kind of reasonably subtle, and it will all kind of make a bit more sense once shading and stuff is on. And I'll need to go back in and do this same process over the top of a few of once the decals and transfers are on there, just kind of help blend them in a little bit as well. So, I'm not going to go too mad with this. Yeah, quite happy with that. Pretty happy with that. And now I need to do the last little step on this guy, just on the little trailer for the, I forget what it's called, Infernus? Is that what it's called? The big flamethrower guy. And this is a problem with having these moving parts. Like there's some, you know, already starting to notice some scratching. Hopefully, once it's all varnished, that'll be a little bit more robust and won't get that scratching on the paint coming off. I mean, ideally, I'd like to glue that in, but it's for storage and stuff and transport. It's probably best to leave it off. Yeah, so this will be the last bit of the chipping and stuff done on. That'd be all 6 of them up to that. Well, the other three sort of beyond that stage anyway. But it means that that's another sort of step ticked off and finished. I think honestly I could have all 6 of them done this time next week. It's definitely possible if I concentrate, and I think that's probably the best option, is to kind of stick and get them all done. Right, I think that's that done anyway. So I'm going to go back to the brown and do the same thing again, just finish that off, and then, I'm not sure, move on to airbrushing some red. I think it's probably the next step. How long have we got? 5:20. Because yeah, my family will probably be back relatively soon, I think. I've got a 10-month-old baby and 2 other kids. But the little one, she gets very upset if she's not in bed by 6 o'clock, so she gets very grotty. So I imagine I'll be back relatively soon. But I'll just keep going until that happens, in case anybody's interested. Let's just add a tiny bit more to the tank there. So yeah, quite happy with that. That's all good. And I think the easiest place to start is on the big one. So that's all three of them up, well, the ones I'm working on at the minute, up to this sort of stage here. So base coat's done, chipping's done, well, the main base coats anyway. So that's all dealt with. Quite happy with that. Looks pretty good. And from the test one that I've been was sent, kind of get an idea of how they're going to look. I need to put, yeah, essentially this section here will be done in red. So I need some masking tape. And I haven't planned this out very well because I can't find it. So bear with me. This is the problem about tidying your desk. I thought I had it here, but maybe not. Hold on. Ah, there you go. It's on the floor right next to my foot. Idiot. So yeah, I'm going to sort of mask this off using the rivets to kind of get an idea of where we want it. I think about there should do it. And it only needs to be on this side as well, so that's quite helpful. So, make sure the airbrush is cleared through. It's going to be using, again, more pro acrylic stuff, which yeah. Again, if you are intending on doing some airbrushing, I would really recommend these paints. I hadn't, until I started this project, I've never used them before, and they are excellent. So this is a burnt red, and it's a nice colour. And I'm just gonna just thin this down and give a couple of nice thin coats over that area. This is where I completely screwed something up. Just giving that a quick test to make sure this is all cleared through and it's all doing what it should be doing. It all looks alright. And so, just in case, I'm going to move the rest of this tank out of the way, just in case something goes wrong. Why is this spattering everywhere? It won't, but it's better just to be safe. Again, I know not everybody has an airbrush, but it is a good tool, and when you get to the point where you're sort of confident with other things, with just normal brushwork and stuff, it's definitely something I'd recommend picking up and having a go with. And if any bleeding comes through this, if you get any red coming through, then I can kind of disguise that with more chipping and stuff. And the only problem with this one is that the tracks are already attached onto here, so I'm going to have to maybe paint them by hand. I'm not sure yet. I'll try and work out how feasible it is to use the airbrush to kind of tidy them up afterwards. So I'd like to, because it's a lot easier. But the rest of them are all kind of on the sprue still, so I can just paint them entirely separately. I do like that colour. I do like that contrast really nice against the blue. It's just and again, I don't have to be too precious about the sort of the join markers, because it can be tidied up if any paint does come through. It's not the end of the world, because it's going to be adding the chipping and stuff to it and blending it all together to make it, you know, a bit more worn and stuff. So it doesn't matter too much. And that's all. Still be relatively careful, because you don't want too much getting underneath that tape. You can always add some more with a brush if necessary. This really does dry a hell of a lot darker than it goes on. Yeah, I think that'll do it. So just bear with me 1 minute. I'm just going to quickly just clear the brush out and move on to the next colour. Just bear with me. I am still in the room, just over the sink. Right, sorry about that. Just needed to do that. Just find it easier to flush it out through the sink rather than put more paint through the brush. Just, you know, just less likely to jam things up, clog it up anyway. So put a tiny bit of cleaner through. And it's still not quite dry. I'll just use the brush to kind of Right. Thinner, and then this again, more Pro Quill stuff. This will be the sort of the highlight colour for the red. We'll do the same thing that I did with the blue, which is to kind of just concentrate on the centre of the panels and just help to pick them out a bit. And again, going back to using the same sort of chipping and stuff to do the edge highlights. I'm just going to do this one rather than doing all three for the time being, just so I can show you, and then can come back to that in a minute afterwards. I'm just going to slowly build it up in the centre of the panels. I don't know whether it's showing through or not, if that's, you can see that or not. It's relatively subtle, just nice and thin coats. Yeah, that's that step done. Again, I don't know how well that shows up the contrast between the two, but there's got some. It definitely shows up to me anyway. Again, spare me one moment. Just going to quickly clear this out. Yeah, if you don't have an airbrush or if you've never used one, that's the best bit of advice I can give. It's just to keep it clean and just, yeah, flush it out constantly. Don't let it get clogged up and you won't have any problems with it. Just clean it more than you think you need to. So just flushing that through. Spare me one moment and I'll move on to the next bit. Give a bit of time for that to kind of dry as well. Just leave a little bit cleaner in there as well, just to into that in a moment. Yeah, so that's that step done. Now let's just hope it doesn't take all the paint with it. So yeah, big reveal of this work. I think that came out quite nicely. Yeah. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is add a little bit more of that brighter red. And I'm going to keep this relatively subtle as well. But the rest of it, I don't want to go too mad. It's just enough to help pick the edges out and give it that sort of slightly worn look. But I will definitely come back in and do some more of this over the top of the transfers once they're on, to help blend them in. If I was being sensible, I would do the transfers first, but I'm not, so me just coming back to that stage. Yeah, I think that's enough. A little bit too bright on the bottom there, but that'll do. And then, as the next step, to do the same thing. Going back to the blue again, the blue highlight colour, and just, in fact, I'm going to do this with a brush so I've got a bit more control. So yeah, just sort of a tiny bit into there. Doesn't have to be anything too much, just enough to break that edge up a little bit. Just give the impression it's been scratched through the red. Not too much, just enough. And I'll probably do that. And then going back to the Rhinox side as well, just to do the same thing again over the red. Where did I put that? Oh yeah, that's where I put the paint then. Again, trying to sort of concentrate on areas where it would get a bit more hit and battered. It's more sort of towards the bottom of these bits, and again, I think I just need a little bit more control with that. So yeah, it does help to kind of really add to that slightly worn look. Just makes it feel a bit more realistic. I'm not going to do this pulled the brush all the way over the whole thing around the chipping and stuff, but as this is a bit of a focal point, it's it helps to make it all look a bit more interesting. I do like the way that red looks, and with the brown chips and stuff on there. So yeah, quite happy with that. So that's kind of how the front of those are going to look on all 6 of them when they're done. So there's a huge amount of it done actually, really, at this point. Yeah, so still quite happy with this now. These ones are coming together quite nicely. Just give you an idea of what that will look like with the red on there, on the main body once it's done. So it definitely helps to sort of just add a bit more interest to it. Quite happy with that. So yeah, I think the next step on this one anyway will be to the decals, but I'm just trying to think, do I want to do any more at this point? Let's do the next lot of the airbrushing. There's a good chance everyone's going to come home relatively soon, so I think I'm going to cut it short, because if I fill up the airbrush and start doing anything else, then inevitably everyone's going to suddenly come home, and then I'm going to have to stop anyway, because they'll be, wife and kids will be back relatively soon, I think. But yeah, I mean, they're coming together. This will be all 6 of them nearly pretty much at this stage by the end of the night. By the time I'm done, plus all the decals and stuff as well. So yeah, that's where I'm hoping to be by the end of tonight. Yeah, well look, thanks very much for joining me. I know it's again not been the most sort of exciting thing, just watching me do lots of sponge chipping and stuff, but thanks very much for watching. It's been nice to kind of just have a chat and just share what I was working on. And again, I'll try and get some more stuff up relatively soon. So yeah, again, thank you so much for all the support. It's always hugely grateful, and yeah, thank you very much. Have a good evening.